Is this thing on?
A few minutes later, all was great. That is right. We are Uncensored Radio Live. We are here. We wouldn't let you go hanging like that. We're here.
Well, maybe.
Not on purpose. Not on purpose, you know. Barring any unforeseen circumstances, we always try and keep the ball rolling. The ball may have a few chips. The ball may have a few chips out of it and look a bit ratty, but that's okay.
It sticks a little bit.
It may not be spherical anymore, but that's okay. It still rolls a little bit. We can make it work. We can make it work. Is what we're trying to do.
Yeah,
we're trying to make it work, just like real life. No, just trying to make it work. But we're living.
We are.
I've said hello
every day.
I've said hello. So, what else do we normally do? Oh, that's right. We're usually talking to each other. We're usually talking to each other.
What do we do? Why do we do this? We never did this before. 15 freaking years. We never done this before.
Why you do this to me, Demi? I don't know. All right. Well, let's start with Christina. How was your week, my love?
Been a week. I'm just very busy again and doing things, and it's been a week. I don't know how else to say. Like I don't know. I'm not sleeping. Like I'm not sleeping right. I am like just stressed out. I don't even have a reason to be except for like work and life.
Are you still working every night after work?
No, not really. No, I'm not.
Okay,
I haven't
good.
done that. I haven't done it for a couple of days.
Good.
Because I've actually been able to concentrate on things at work because somebody else took over one of my other reports. So it really took a load off. And so I've actually had like not to sign on at night, which is nice. So, but I mean, again, that's not good. It's actually just work itself during it because I'm like, somebody put the faith in me to train at like the new girl. I don't know, if that was a good idea.
I'm gonna be the boss.
I know exactly what the fuck I'm doing. I'm really good at my job. I will say that, and I got like an award for being good, and I can't even talk about it, which I can't even talk about it. It sucks. They told me that they're not going to tell anybody, but I'm telling you guys. Just you two. That's it.
That's it. Nobody else heard it.
No one else is going to hear it.
It won't be online or anything.
Yeah, so like it just, I mean, that made me feel great that I was finally recognized for like the hard work that I've been putting in. And again, they like, I feel like they kind of rewarded me too to like let up some of the work that I've been doing by giving one of my reports away. But then they gave me the new hire to train, and it's like, she is such a sweet girl too, like a woman. And I don't know how old she is, but she's not a girl. And so I just
not yet a woman.
Again, I'm trying to teach her something today, and it was my fault because like I hadn't gotten you need things. I need account numbers to show her things. And like I wasn't prepared to show her what I needed to show her because I didn't have an account that didn't have that thing I needed to show her. And like it didn't occur to me when I picked it that like it wouldn't have a check deposit in it,
Right.
So then I'm searching through the system and I'm like trying to get it and it's not working. Nothing is matching. I am trying everything. I pull my other associate over. I go, what am I doing wrong? I'm like, I know I do this. I don't really do this every day. I said, but I know how to do it and it's not working. We pull up another account number. That doesn't work. Then this girl that sits across from me from like another cubicle emails me a screenshot that shows exactly what I'm doing. I go, I know, Jackie, I know, but it's not working. And I'm like, and mind you, this is a remote worker. She's in North Carolina. I'm in New York. So it's all over the phone.
Oh.
So
wow, yeah.
Like panicking. And I go, this woman is cracking up on the other end. And thank God she's so nice because I'm just like, everything is failing. I'm so sorry. I don't know who put this stuff in me. Like, I don't know why they told me I could train somebody because I'm so discombobulated and like my patience is like paper thin and I just, oh my God, I was cracking up at myself. And thank God, again, she was laughing too, but I was just making a joke of it. Like, I don't know what I'm doing, but I do know what I'm doing, but I like to have fun. And act like I don't.
It's like when it always happens when someone's watching you. Like, you could do it blindfolded with your hand behind your back normally, but then something will go wrong. And you're like, oh, I don't know what's happening.
Exactly. So then you start panicking and like throwing yourself under the bus. And I mean, I got to work after everything, and it turned out fine. And she knows what she's doing now. But again, did I go in like 18 other different directions while I was waiting for that one thing to work? Yes, because I have to get my own shit done too. So she's just along for the ride, and I hope she's strong enough to get through it because it's
you'll be fine. You're doing fine, kiddo.
We did it.
We
did it.
Keep laughing. Just keep laughing.
Did you breathe a big sigh of relief once you got there? You're like, oh, Jesus.
I know.
Oh, sweet baby Jesus.
Yeah, I'm like, see, this is how it's supposed to look. I'm like, this is where you.
This was all a test.
Work. Yeah, exactly.
This will be on the test.
I really did make an example of it. I said, now you know what else to look for because I was looking. It turned out I was looking for the wrong thing.
Right.
And the profile I needed wasn't under what I was looking. So I said to her, I was like, always try this now. What I was doing was completely effing wrong. So it was just
there you go.
Comical, but again, that's my life. But like this is how my life pans out. I try to do something good and be a good associate.
It will be fine. You are doing something good. You are a good associate. Don't be so hard on yourself.
I know.
Deep breath. You're doing fine.
Thank you. My heart was talking.
And it's a whole do as I say, not as I do moment as well.
Exactly.
Learn from my mistakes,
Yeah. I mean, and she definitely will.
So. There you go. Learning processes are always important. That's our underlying statement for today.
It's my underlying statement for this week.
Oh, there we go.
How was your
Vera,
week?
What's your week, Vic?
We're supposed to start a brand new software system on Monday. They cleared Monday and Tuesday for everybody's schedule. Our old software system is obsolete and will no longer be serviced. So they decided to get a brand new software system.
We know what that feels like.
Custom built for our clinic. Everything is supposed to be customized for our clinic. Couldn't go live on Monday. Wasn't ready on Monday. Couldn't go live on Tuesday. Wasn't ready on Tuesday. Wednesday, we're still not live, and now we've got patients. Today, we got full caseloads, and we're still not live. We're charting in Microsoft Word and saving it on our desktops.
Oh, no.
And when we finally go live, whenever it's going to be, we're going to have to cut and paste all of our charts, all that data. So, yep.
Well, technology's always great until it doesn't work.
Yeah. ICE was in my hometown last night.
Who?
I have no idea. ICE. I have no idea who they were coming for. I have no idea who they got. But they 5 different people reported that ICE was in Auburn at the local gas station, at the Holiday Inn, and at a local restaurant.
I wasn't there.
Wow.
I just made sure my lights are off. I'm going upstairs. They can't
Vera
find
just
me.
finds any red hat she can. She's like, this will do.
I'm going dead weight and I'm making them carry me.
from upstairs.
Right.
From upstairs. No, that didn't work out well for that girl.
No.
Didn't she make it
Frank,
through?
not so much.
And Frank, yeah.
Yeah, and there's a reason why the book finishes, the Germans are coming up the...
Uh-oh.
That's an old Joan Rivers joke. Sorry, had to do it. Had to do it. It was, well, that's a bit topical.
I know. It's kind of scary.
My
hometown is nowhere near close to a border.
Right.
Yeah, no.
They must have heard about. They're like, there's these random Australians that show up here every now and then. You might want to check them
They're not
out.
looking for white people.
No.
You never know.
They're looking for the Browns. If they were taking white people who were illegal immigrants, they'd have had to take Ilan and Melania. Both of them came in illegally.
Ah, well. Semantics, right?
Yeah.
Semantics. It's all good. I have something this week. We had an earthquake.
And is that your first earthquake?
No. So Newcastle had a really bad earthquake. Oh God, over 30 years ago now, where people lost lives, buildings collapsed, all that kind of stuff. But this one was only 4.1 on the Richter scale.
That's still enough.
But it was out in. So we live kind of like what, nearly an hour away from mines. So it's up where the mines were. It's like the earth saying, "Hey, don't dig here," But that's all right. They've probably released some demon or something. But everyone's like, and I figured, it was like 2 to 3 in the morning, and I was in bed, and I was just. It felt like a really large dog or cat jumped on the bed.
Yeah,
I've been through an earthquake before. I know what they feel like, but
yeah,
it wasn't. Because we were so far away from it. It was just kind of a little. That was it. But people are like, "Oh my God, it woke me up! It shook the windows." I'm like, I thought it was just. I'm like, I don't have a dog or a cat, but we had just been doing a ghost hunting thing with Anna Renata that night. So I was just like, oh, who knows? It could be anything.
Something followed you home.
I wasn't that bothered. Hey, I was just laying in bed going.
Do things follow you home from ghost hunts often?
Wouldn't be the first time something weird's happened, That's all I'm gonna say without terrifying. We'll save those stories for Halloween.
Ooh.
Yeah, the good ones. But yeah, that was exciting this week. I was like, ooh.
Wow.
And it's wait. Sorry, I must say, for Australia today is Anzac Day, so it is our Memorial Day for our soldiers. So thank you for your service, lest we forget.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you, yes.
So yeah, we're commemorating the Anzacs from 110 years ago.
Wow.
Our Memorial Day's from 100.
Yeah, we're a baby country. We're a baby country. You gotta remember.
We're a baby country too. We're like whining teenagers.
You're the ones. You guys were the ones that were so straight laced. Even the English said, "Get the fuck out." Get on a Mayflower and go. That's
we're still so puritanical. It's ridiculous.
We're the criminals. We're the criminals. I just went, chuck them all down there. I'll be all right. If the spiders don't get them, the snakes and kangaroos will.
Been watching Love on the Spectrum Australia this week.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, and they were in New South Wales. One of the people.
Ooh, whereabouts in New South Wales? Tell you.
They said a town. It sounded like Wollongong, but I don't know what it was.
Yeah, probably close. Wollongong, maybe.
Wollongong, yeah, that's what it is. Yeah.
That's about
not the tennis player, something else.
3 hours. That's about 3 hours away from me. Welcome to Australia.
Wow.
Welcome to Australia, where everything's 500 hours away from each other. That's okay.
I have to watch that show. I haven't watched it yet.
I love Love on the Spectrum. It's one of my favorites.
It is an interesting show. It's like that. Have you ever watched the? What's it called here? It's like where they get the second graders and like kindergarten kids to go into the old age homes and make friends with them. Oh, it must be an Australian. It just must be an Australian thing though. So it's.
Is it on Netflix? I'll look for it.
I don't know. It's Old Folks Home for Second Graders or something like that. It's called, and then it shows you how important the relationship,
multi-generational relationships.
Any relationship is for people that are alone in an aged care. It's really tough. Like you're like, because by the end they become best friends and whatnot. They have to say goodbye. They have to say goodbye at the end of it. But the good thing is that a lot of them kind of adopted their old person into their family. So you get an update where they're like, they come and get them out of the home for the day and take them to the house or make them go. It's like,
Oh,
really
that
nice.
sounds really good. I would love that.
So wildly. Or do you know what has been getting me a little bit on TikTok lately? There's this one guy that works at a animal shelter, a pet rescue, and he always goes in with the card. He goes, "Who's this for? Is it for you, buddy? I know I've walked past every other day, but this is it. This is your home to be adopted." It's got like touching.
Yeah.
I'm like, heart of stone usually, but I'm like, oh god.
Oh my god.
Old folks and animals are your weak spot. The rest of us can suck off.
I lied. The one other thing, it must be some random American like network thing. It's relative race or something it's called. And they it's people that don't know their family that find members of their family and they do
oh no, I don't know that one either.
Oh yeah. That shit's crazy. It's like, oh, your mother. It's like all these people that had to be given up as children, and they find out that they have whole families and stuff. It's very dramatic.
Speaking of tearjerkers, did you see any of the stuff from the Boston Marathon?
I saw that guy who couldn't get up.
Yeah, and then the Brazilian runner stopped and helped carry him helped him walk across the line. And then the 84-year-old woman.
You might as well.
The 84-year-old woman crossed the finish line, and this young kid's helping her. And she's like,
"Oh, bless." Vera, you'll appreciate this as a nurse. We have this new running sensation in Australia. He's immigrated from another country, but his name is Gout.
Gout.
You're not running anywhere with gout. Every time I see gout
sponsorships,
gout. You go gout.
Is that his whole name, first and last, or is...
he's from some. I feel like he's from Sudan.
Now there's a set of parents with a mean sense of humor.
Definitely somewhere very foreign. That doesn't.
He wouldn't name your child Smith.
You never know.
I know a guy at work. A guy has the first and last name. I don't know if it's a heritage thing, but
Williams.
First and last name are exactly the same.
Roberts.
Peter.
Yeah, I know, a Steve Stevenson, like that.
Oh no.
Yeah.
I do know a Donnie Donaldson.
Yeah. Isn't that so weird?
Yeah, that's harsh. That has to be...
I also knew a Kelly Green.
That has to be
yes.
That has to be family tradition, when it gets to that. It's
yeah.
Okay.
No, but this guy that I work with, his first name is exactly the same as his last name. It's not
but it's not Gout.
It's just interesting.
It's not Gout, but it's just like that.
Check out Gout. He's a running
think
sensation.
Think of it like John. It's like Gout. It's John. It's like the thing. It's like
we're going to be talking about John tangentially related stuff today.
Oh, are we?
Well, we've got some Kennedy
Is
drama.
His grandson or his nephew doing something important?
No, it's just more of the extended family.
RFK, oh yeah.
As per usual.
His mother's cousin.
Always the way. Smother. Okay, well, let's talk about it. We got a lot to chat about in this week.
Hot load of hot topics.
Of course, we cannot go through the show. This is a pretty famous one, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Pope Francis, RIP. Which can mean only one thing. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's time to play Vatican Idol. The cardinals are locked down and it's time for them to step up.
Oh, they're not locked down yet.
They are ready. They are willing.
They can't get locked down until after the funeral.
Who is going to wear the pretty dress, the big hat, and go, you're fucked, you're fucked, you're fucked. That's right. We've tried to find...
Well, you know what the Italians say.
Why?
No, they say if you got a skinny pope, the next one's going to be fat.
Well,
which means that Francis was a liberal. The next one's going to be conservative.
That's not. They're like, we'd like a less liberal pope. I'm like, is that even a sentence? Like, is that liberal pope? It sounds like a tautology to me.
Francis was liberal for a feudal religion that still follows antiquated guidelines. And
I mean, come on, you've got to give him props, because the last thing he did was tell JD Vance that he was a shitty Catholic, and then peaced out. He's like,
it took everything out of him.
I'm like, that's a legendary moment. But poor bitch, they knew he was on. They made him work a double shift before he clocked out as well. If he died, if he was going to die, they would have weekend at Bernie's him. It would have been like,
they would have. Yeah.
He had to work a double before he clocked out.
They knew. They had that adrenaline syringe ready to go to do the full Pulp Fiction just in case. You must kiss the baby, Papa. Come on, you can do it. But look, we're joking about it. But I, as not religious person, so I think that Christina, you could probably give us heathens a bit of an idea as to why people are so bummed out about it. If you got extended family that are like,
I mean, I don't think we're like, it's more like, again, my mom asked me on Easter Sunday, back to my brother, she goes, you went to church today? She was dead fucking serious too. And I go, God doesn't want to see me. And and she goes, God always wants to see you. And I was like, well, all right.
Well, can you make it work on my time, please? Like,
yeah. Okay. And I shrugged it off, and then I heard that the Pope died later on, and I'm like, oh, I could see my aunts and my mother being upset, obviously because it's the Pope. He's like the highest of all
right.
the high. So I get it, but as far as I'm concerned, I feel bad. Obviously, again, he's the Pope. As far as how long did he last in the?
He's been our Pope for a long time.
I was going to say, he's been there for quite some time.
He's been our Pope for he was definitely our Pope in 2016. He encouraged people to vote against Trump in 2016 and 2020.
Yeah.
And look where he is now. Hello.
Well, the American Catholics have been disregarding him since he first came in, because he said that he was very supportive of LGBTQ rights.
Yeah.
He was very supportive of lots of different liberal causes, and the Americans were just like, oh, we're not listening to him. We're going to stick with our anti-abortion, anti-LGBTQ philosophy.
Jesus cares about everything. I don't know what you're talking about.
But I know that a lot of people were upset with like his beliefs and what he fought for. So, I mean, I'm glad that he did what he did.
I am too.
He needed that. I mean, it's because the religion has evolved.
It needs to evolve more.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the fact that women still can't join the priesthood in 2025.
Yeah, that's weird.
That's very weird.
That doesn't even, that has never come to my mind, Vera. Is that like, that's bad, right? Like that.
That's bad. Yeah.
Let's pull that up.
It's the only major religion in the world that women are not allowed to.
I've always just assumed.
And there's plenty of women who have become Episcopal priests because they couldn't join the Catholic Church. And be a priest.
Like ministers, right?
Women who were called, and lots of men who were called who were married and now are Episcopals.
Yeah.
So they do call the Episcopal Church Catholic Light, but
you're Episcopal.
Episcopal.
So, do you want to see the 9 front runners for new Pope?
Sure.
It's like going live. It's going
the
live.
conclave will not be called until after the funeral.
I'm going to cut really close here.
So we have Cardinal Pietro Parolin, considered a moderate against surrogacy and gender ideology. Huge surprise. Yep. Cardinal Peter Erdu, a conservative whose stances gained, can't read, against refugee acceptance and illegal interpretations of church doctrines. So a real good time to hang out with, apparently. This is my winner. Cardinal Luis Antonio Tagle. He's Filipino, so imagine the singing.
Yeah.
Politically left-leaning, supportive of LGBT rights. Interesting.
Yay.
Matteo Zuppi, moderate and left-leaning, more liberal than the Filipino guy. So crazy.
Yeah.
Everyone else is conservative. They hate everyone. One of them is against LGBT rights and altar girls because he only wants the boys in there. Huge surprise. Yeah.
An arch conservative. The American is an arch conservative.
Yeah, well, there you go, because no one's more pure than the Americans.
Yeah, right. What happened to Pizzaballa? There was one of the cardinals was Cardinal Pizzaballa, which means pizza dance.
Sounds like a closed chain restaurant.
Pizzaballa. Pizzaballa. It literally means pizza dance.
You get free holy water with your garlic bread. Stop it.
Cardinal pizza dance.
Good doing that. So now, look, the irony of this all is that Conclave has just been released on streaming as well.
Is it?
So, they'll do anything for promo in this day and age. Bump off the Padre, we gotta go.
Conclave was an all-star snooze fest. It was a long, boring movie.
Well, we're about to sit through it in real life.
Yeah, yeah, but we can get up and pee whenever we want to in this one.
I love that they're just so against drag queens, and this is like the biggest
the outfits ceremony that they wear.
We've got to wait for the fancy white smoke to come out until I put out my dress and my hat. Oh, and judge everyone. Stop it. It's like, all right, sister, calm down. You'll be okay.
The special vestments that they have to wear for death, they're pretty fabulous.
I'm a bit freaked out about the open casket because he's real stiff already.
That's tradition. That's been the Pope tradition since I was a kid. I remember seeing the Pope on the litter and their shoe falling off. And
Pope on a rope. I don't need it. I don't like it. Some people need, but look, he's doing the whole. I don't want to be buried here. I want to be in a box. And blah blah, like doing the whole. I'm not here for the show afterwards. Just chuck me in a box and go. Which I guess is refreshing because, they're sitting on all those millions and millions of dollars of priceless art and gold.
This is completely unrelated to the papal funeral. But anytime I think about the Vatican, when I was in Rome and at the Vatican, we were walking through the hallways and they had all these statues. And one was Saint Grigor di Armenia. And this group of Americans thought, look, it's Giorgio Armani. I'm like, oh my God.
You're not doing anything for the tourists.
The Americans. You all get an F.
Sounds like Vigo the Carpathian or something.
Yeah.
I'm scared. I don't like Ghostbusters too. That guy scares me. I don't like it.
He was scary.
He was. Still got PTSD over that movie. So we got 9 days of mourning, and then we're waiting for smoke. It's kind of like a relationship.
And we can wait forever for the smoke. I was excited about Cardinal Pizzaballa.
We'll see.
He didn't make the cut. He didn't get the golden ticket. He's not going to Hollywood.
Maybe we'll get Cardinal Calzone or something. Hey, don't worry about it. Imagine we got like a full-on like Long Island Italian. Hey, stop it! What are you talking about?
What are you
Long Island Italian?
Why don't you send your dad over there, Christine? I'll send him over.
You don't want my father as a Pope.
Oh, Papa.
You don't want my father as a Pope.
He'd have to give up your mother.
No.
Well, depending on the day, take my wife, please.
Yeah, no, your dad. Oh my God, you don't want him as a Pope.
You don't want him as a Pope.
You want him in any legal or any kind of
anything with authority.
No.
My priest, when I was a kid, when I went to Catholic school, the priest was Father Shaman, and he was charismatic. He was bigger than life. He had this booming voice. He sang all the time. And I always thought that I would live to see him be Pope, but he never did.
And it's always interesting because I always send like the young hip ones out to the schools and whatnot. They're like, hey, look at this groovy nun and this groovy
guitar mass.
Hey, everyone.
In the 70s.
Jesus, groovy.
The traditional Catholics were freaking out because the nuns would play guitar and sing Kumbaya on the altar. It was quite the scandal in the American Catholic Church when I was a kid.
Anytime I see a nun, I just think of Airplane.
Yeah.
She's knocking the IV drip out of the kid. The most religious I get is Sister Act 1 and 2. And then I'm all about it.
And Sister Act 1 or 2 sing some of my favorite Catholic hymns. They really do. Hail, Holy Queen, enthroned above was one that was my jam when I was 9. Long before Whoopi, I was like, Hail, Holy Queen, enthroned above, oh Maria. I loved it. It was my favorite.
I remember you had to go to the 9 o'clock mass in order to get the choir. And I'd like, you never wanted to get up because we would always go to the 10 o'clock one. And every now and then my mom would be like, let's go to the 9 o'clock. We're going to go to the 9. And like, we would
she's feeling frisky.
Like, I would get excited because it was like, yes, we're going to get to like the choir with the bells and because it was
dinner and a show.
That was really fun.
Well, the only time we went to the choir mass was when it was somebody's birthday and we were all going to go to brunch after.
Oh.
That's when you got dinner and the show or show and breakfast. But
we got to go to Cheap John's afterward.
My mom was a lay teacher in the Catholic school that I went to, so we had to eat lunch every day in the convent with my mother.
I'm sick of these fishes and loaves already.
Oh my God.
All this water. All this water. Where's the water? You know what I'm saying? Oh. Oh. I wish Jesus
one of the
Apollo.
I don't remember which Apollo it was, but one of the Apollo landings we watched in the convent at lunchtime. My sister and I.
There you go.
Wow.
Yeah.
My teacher and I. Oh. That reminds me, the trailer for Wicked's dropping today or tomorrow.
I got to look for it.
Get excited, kids.
I'm excited. I've been excited since November.
It's only going to dominate the next 18 months as well.
Yay.
For Wicked 2?
The second half.
Yeah,
they split it. Half. They split it. They split the story in half.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, that was bad.
There's more to come.
It was always like anything that makes money. There's more coming.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, let's talk a little bit more about money and stuff. I kind of am a bit of a fan of Jasmine Crockett.
I love Jasmine Crockett. Talk about being a baller. She does.
Some of it is sometimes a little bit controversial, but she wasn't incorrect when she said she was speaking about Kilmer Abreu Garcia. Obviously, this is still a conversation we're having, and rightly so. When she said that the man in the White House, he is less of a criminal than the man that is currently occupying the White House. Much drama, much sauciness. So, so her verbatim quote, but there's a reality, as far as I'm concerned, he's a lot less criminal than the person that's sitting in the White House, because last time I checked, he doesn't have any criminal convictions, which at the moment, everyone doing their due diligence, there are no criminal convictions, correct?
I gotta say, while she's not wrong that as far as criminal convictions, Donald Trump certainly far out left Abrego Garcia. However, it should not fucking matter. Due process is due process. Even if every single man that they deported was an MS-13, they deserve due process. You can't just throw them out of the country and into a prison. without any proof of crime. According to the New York Times, at least 75% of them are not criminal and not part of any gang. I don't know where they got the names because most Americans don't know the names of the people that have been deported.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, let's look into it seriously, because if that rule applies to everyone,
Mm-hmm.
criminal activity, like there's a fair few people, family-wise, everyone's got a little skeleton in the closet that has had some run-ins and stuff like that. And it's not. I don't think it's being administered evenly. Let's say we're obviously targeting gang violence, and
But American justice has never been administered equally. Not in my lifetime.
Not spreading correctly. It's
You
like you haven't taken the butter
there
out
is
of the
definitely a different set of rules for the haves and the have-nots.
Becoming more and more evident.
Becoming more and more evident all the time. However, everybody deserves due process. This is the rule of law. If they can deport people without pressing charges, without bringing it to a court, by just throwing a bag over their head and saying this person's here illegally, and they don't care if they catch somebody who's not here illegally, like I said last week, Abreu Garcia has been reporting to the Department of Homeland Security every year, as he's required by law. One of the men that is being held in a detention center and has not yet been deported was on his way to the courthouse to take his citizenship test because he's been doing everything he was supposed to do. And he's now in jail. They've revoked his visa, and for no reason. There are hundreds of students that were here on student visas that they revoked their visa without ever telling them, and then arrested them on campus. And you cannot tell me that picking up 9-year-olds outside their school or at their school, that these 9-year-olds are hardened criminals and members of a terrorist gang. Don't know what criteria they're using. These children are not getting recorded. These children are not getting their day in court. And let's not forget, there are still 1,500 children missing from the first Trump presidency that were never found and have never been returned to their families. This is beyond the pale. This is ugly. This is gross. It's illegal. It's a crime against humanity.
It's getting because I work at one of my many jobs. We talk a lot about travel and international travel at that.
Mm-hmm.
And I got into a long conversation with somebody who was, and even my workmates, about traveling to the US, because every day there are more and more stories of people being detained at the borders and, having their mobile phones and their laptops and all their technology taken away from them.
Confiscated and opened illegally. Technically, you are not able to search somebody's electronics without a warrant from a judge, but they are confiscating laptops and phones at the border of visiting citizens and American citizens. People returning from foreign travel are getting their phones stolen or confiscated at the border. And now no guarantee, no receipt, no promise that they'll ever get their phones back.
But he was asked today, he should not be named, was yesterday maybe, they were talking about the downturn in tourism. He goes, oh no, everyone wants to come here. Everyone wants to come here. Why wouldn't you want to come here? I'm like, because literally, like the UK, Germany,
the guy you appointed,
they're telling people actively not to travel to the US. I can't ever remember when that happened.
I can't remember when that happened either.
Yeah.
Ever. And that's what gives me pause as well, because they're looking for they're asking, have you ever made any defamatory statements about the current administration? I'm like, well, I'm fucked.
Me too.
See you later. I'll be in El Salvador, and I don't do well in hot climates. This is not me.
The Americans, you'd be deported back to Australia.
We'll see, because there's like people there's a British girl that has been detained for over a week at the moment.
17 days.
Yeah.
She was returned.
So
that the only reason that her mother was the only reason that they even she was
her
not allowed to
parents.
call.
But imagine the people that don't have parents.
Oh yeah.
If for every story we know about, I'm sure there's a million we don't hear, and that's terrifying.
Oh, tell me about it.
That's terrifying. It's just
I had a friend just last week ask me if I was afraid. You know, she knows that I'm Hispanic. She knows that I'm a critic of the president. And I said, absolutely. I said, every freaking day. You know, last night when ICE was in town, I was freaked out. This is it. You know?
We always say it's never a problem until it comes to your town. Literally.
Well, the American Civil Liberties Union is advising people to travel with burner phones, to leave your personal electronics at home and travel with burner phones. When I was a kid, the only people who used burner phones were criminals.
I know this war seems a little cold. You know?
Oh.
Hello, comrade. Hello, comrade.
It's cold here in my country, in my home. I don't feel welcome in my own home.
Where are the nuclear codes, comrade? It's like, I don't know. We're going to start thinking with an accent soon. I don't like potatoes that much. I'm tired. I don't want it. Unless, of course, you're China, and then we'll backflip over those tariffs like no one's business. It's like, whoops.
Oh, God.
Change my mind.
The Chinese,
104. Wait,
the Chinese president has been brilliant. He has outmaneuvered President Trump every single turn.
My favorite thing he said in the last couple of days: they won't be 145%, but they won't be 0
ever again. Yeah. My favorite thing was when Trump made up those arbitrary numbers, and so President Xi Jinping said, "Okay, here's our number, 34%.
I'll raise you 7." And it's like, okay.
One for every criminal conviction, 34%.
Yeah.
Wait,
sassy.
Talk
Other
about getting
nations'
saucy.
leaders are so sassy. It's just like, calm
I know, right?
Queen down. There is a queen that everyone wishes would be taken down. Nature tried, but it just won't happen. RFK
This
Jr.
piece of
Where
shit.
did we begin? Where did we begin with this piece of shit this week? Oh, because he's been a busy boy, right? So the article that I posted was about his comments. So let's put it into perspective. The Health and Human Services Secretary, and his remarks on people with autism and vaccines. Because, you know, for those of you that didn't hear it, this is the quote: "Autism destroys families and, more importantly, destroys our greatest resource, which is our children. They'll never pay taxes. They'll never hold a job. They'll never play baseball. They'll never write a poem. They'll never go out on a date. Many of them will never even use a toilet unassisted."
He's such a piece of shit.
I have so many feelings, but I'm going to go straight to you, Christina. How do you feel after that?
I'm mad. I'm sad.
How can you not be?
Right?
My son will do all of those things. So
absolutely.
The horrible thing is that people believe what they see in the media. And they believe that this attitude, which is so, like, are we in the 1950s?
So backward, completely backward. So lacking into insight in modern assessment tools and modern treatment plans, and a masterclass in how to lie with statistics. I mean, the statistics that he used were close to right, but they're, like 40% of 8-year-olds diagnosed with autism are in this severe spectrum. But that's because at that age, the most severe are the ones that get noticed. Some of the highest functioning people on the spectrum don't get diagnosed into their teens and into late adulthood even. you know? And
100%.
one of the biggest misunderstandings of autism is that this is not linked to dysfunction. This is linked to higher intellectual function. It's a gene a gene malfunction that appears in the smartest children.
100%.
It's a master class.
Misinformation
and lying with statistics. And, quite frankly, I firmly believe that Mr. Kennedy himself is on the spectrum somewhere. When you look at his history and his self-medication for his whole entire life, and the comments that he's made about, I never succeeded in school until I got hooked on heroin, it's like, oh, yeah, maybe the heroin redirected some of that attention deficit that was going on in your brain.
Yeah, it's just reprehensible.
This fucking piece of shit. And the person that he has hired as an expert is no expert, who's actually does not hold a medical license and advocates for chemical neutering of autistic children. That he's it's like Dr. Mengele and Hitler. It's disgusting.
We've got a little bit of carry on from this story, is that they now want to create an autism register so that the government will access your private medical records to have a record.
And the government tried to do this with AIDS in the 80s. And that Supreme Court ruled it a violation of civil liberties. Let's hope this Supreme Court has the same integrity.
We're going to be hearing from literally everyone.
But this is the thing. It's not a niche issue anymore.
No, it's not.
There are people on the autism spectrum everywhere. And
okay, it's like
right. The person working next to you is on the spectrum. It's like it's not the 1950s. We don't send people away to the country because they don't think or act the same as everyone else anymore.
Go ahead, Christina. Sorry.
I work with a guy who also has an autistic son. He's like older. He's a grown up now, and he has a job. He doesn't drive, no, but he does have a job. He earns a paycheck. He talks. He communicates with people. He can go to the bathroom by his fucking self. And to me, like, again, he's an older gentleman too, like the guy that I work with. So knowing that, like, he even said to me, he goes, he didn't get his son diagnosed until he was 8. And because I said, like, back then, 20, 30 years ago, 35 years ago, whatever it wasn't the normal. Like, again, nobody knew what was wrong with my kid, just again, it was diagnosed as something else, or, oh, we'll be patient with him. He'll talk. And even when my son was diagnosed last year, it was like, stop saying he's a boy, it'll happen, he's only 2, it's something like that. Like, you're doing him a disservice. Like, get the intervention now. So, like, the fact that I got the help when he was 2, I have the hope of him doing all those things that this piece of fucking shit says that he doesn't think he's going to be able to do. And when I hear people say, well, oh, he's only talking about the really severe cases, I don't care. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Are still holding a bubble around the people. You could say black people. Why don't you replace that with black people? Why don't you replace autistic with black? Why don't you replace autistic with Asian? Why don't you any other fucking word? You're putting everyone in a bubble. I don't care. And all the black people will come after you. All the Asian people will come after you. All the white people will come after you. It doesn't matter. And it's frustrating that it's like, well, no, that's it. Like, I'm seeing this and it matters to me. It matters to my son when it matters to the 13-year-old.
It should matter to every single one of us.
Right. It doesn't set a precedent for me or any other autistic individual in the entire universe hearing those things, thinking that somebody thinks of you like that. Like, again, I think if you can't go to the bathroom when you're 45, maybe it's more than autism. Maybe it's not just you're autistic. Again, maybe you are severely autistic. Okay, there are spectrums.
But
why they call it a
but
spectrum.
what gives any one person the right to judge that person as less than?
Right.
Period. You know,
100%.
whether or not you can go to the bathroom unassisted does not mean you weigh into the value that you have as a human being.
Right.
One of my very good friends, well, she was my good friend at one time. I don't really see her that often anymore, but her son was born profoundly disabled. He was wheelchair bound. He had limited verbalization, but she knew all along that he was smarter than they were giving him credit for. And she advocated for her child, and she found him a program that taught facilitated communication. And with the help of computers, this kid was able to take classes at SU. You know, there are special needs people all the time doing things that they were told they couldn't do 50 years ago. You know, that was my first career right out of college when I was 20. I worked with special needs people. And believe you me, they may not be able to say anti-disestablishmentarianism, but they can manipulate like crazy. They are not dumb.
No, my son
in
is,
no way, shape, or form.
when I tell you, he is so smart. Like he really is. At 3, like, okay, I'm blocking everything, but you see all these little dots here?
Yeah.
They're eggs. They're like little glass eggs.
Yeah.
I have a holder for them back there, but I put them away every morning, and every morning or every night. I put them away every night in the little
He's like,
thing.
this is where I put them, Mom. Like, this is the order that I put them in.
Every morning, he lines them up in the same order. He counts, he puts them out, and then he'll go inside and he'll line up his little pancakes. He'll line up his bread. And they say it's like a mathematical thing. Like, yes, it is also a side effect of autism, whatever. They have AD, like OCD. But no, I don't think of it as OCD. I think of it like, okay, my son's smart. He knows exactly what he wants. He knows how to count. He's counting himself. Like, you know,
and you know, one of my favorite phrases that I used to use quite frequently, it's not disabled, it's differently abled. You know,
100%.
You know, I mean, yeah, this kid's not going to respond to a standardized test like another kid. But you know what? They're not wrong. You know, I remember a person who, what is at the end of your arms? And the expected answer was hands. But the kid's answer was armpits.
There you go.
You know, how many birthdays do you have?
Semantics.
3. One at grandma's, one at Grammy's, and one at home. You know, every single answer that the kid gave was right, but it wasn't the standard answer. You know, they are differently abled. They think differently, you know, and that's a beautiful thing. It really is.
From another perspective, we a couple of months ago now, I sat down with Katie Underwood and Anne from Anne and Renata, Ghost Hunting Grannies, True Haunting hosts, podcast hosts. They have both been diagnosed with ADHD, and they talked about their journey from childhood and the things, you know, they were told they were wrong, they were bad, they couldn't do this, they couldn't do that. And they've managed to get their diagnosis in adulthood and also see those patterns in their children, and their children have been, you know, diagnosed with being on the spectrum as well. It's an educational tool more than anything else. I know that there is sometimes a lot of guilt associated with not getting that early intervention because you could have done X, Y, and Z. And the most important thing is that you have a desire. It isn't the 1950s anymore. We don't throw people away when they don't work the way society should think that they work. And one of my very close friends has a son that's autistic, and Ethan is one of the smartest kids. He's great. He's so great. And you know, he just doesn't have that filter. He's like, "Are we leaving now?" I'm like, "Babe, that's how I feel too." Like, I was like, "I want to go home." And he's a teenager, and he has come so far. Like, he's smart. He's creative. He dances. He's like he does all these things that we're being told by someone in the highest position, one of the highest positions in your country, that they'll never do. And for some, like,
it's just fucking ignorant.
Some kind of mental impairment, like, he's holding that office, I don't know whether he is, a legitimate title holder, given everything that's wrong with him.
I know.
As Vera said, why don't you go do a test, man, and see where you are on the spectrum?
Let's find out how all that self-medication came about. Yeah. But I went to my class reunion last year, and there was at least a handful of people I went to school with, and my sister and I were working the room, talking to people, saying hi, and there was at least 4 or 5 different people who were like, imagine how far that person would have got if they had early intervention. And I think that's the beauty of our current system, which the Department of Ed has built since the 70s, is that they have standardized the interventions across the country. It used to be that only the liberal states like New York and California had standardized testing, and only those states were identifying people. Now they have standardized testing across America, and the United States, I shouldn't call it America, different states are seeing their numbers go up because children are being tested now. You can't say that it's an epidemic. They've existed forever. They just weren't identified. Right. They didn't get the early intervention.
100%.
And to say that it's an epidemic and it has to be ended and scrubbed clean, and it's so backwards. It's such short-sighted.
It's like we've been comparing things, that it's like the mass attitude to gay people or trans people. Oh, this is an epidemic. This has happened because of the modern world. No, boo. Go read a history book.
Right. Yeah.
Go find out that what 100 years ago, 50
trans
years ago.
People existed 100 years ago. Gay people existed 100 years ago. These aren't new things. Just because it's TV has informed you, now you don't understand it. You don't have to understand everything. I say this all the time. You don't understand aeronautical engineering, but you get your ass on a plane. Why do they feel like they have to understand everything? It's not your fucking job. And the thing that also kills me is that all of this legislation that's pointless, they've deliberately written laws that say you can't vote if you're not a legal citizen. That's been a law for hundreds of years. That was part of our Constitution. That doesn't need a new law. Then they write a law that says trans women can't compete in female athletics. It's like, you're talking about 3 people in the entire country. You had to write a law and take up legislative time to write a fucking law about this. That's ridiculous. It's so hate and chaos. I said this after the inauguration. That is what this administration is. It's hate and chaos. They are spinning their wheels, writing legislation about shit that's ridiculous.
Shit doesn't matter.
Shit that doesn't matter. You don't need a fucking register of who has autism. That's not your fucking place. That's a direct violation of HIPAA, which is a part of the Constitution now. Yeah. It was voted on in the 80s. HIPAA is a constitutional law in this country.
But I don't know, why didn't you just put out how they have these those trials, the medical trials, whatever. Why does he even wait for people to sign up? I don't understand why he has to go through people's medical.
He doesn't. He really doesn't, and he has no expertise to interpret it clearly because he's misinterpreting the data he does have. And he's fired all the doctors who are research doctors in this and expertise in this area because
the ones
they're
that are saying
too
things
liberal.
He doesn't want to hear.
So what would be the point of having access to autistic people's medical charts?
So you can isolate them and put them on a farm?
Yes. Remember we talked about going to health farms not too long ago?
Yeah. I believe me. I've seen Handmaid's Tale.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's draconian. It's Hitlerian. That's
a nice word. That's a nice word for it, Mira.
Yeah.
But, I think that they're really showing this administration is really showing their cards now, and people are seeing it. They may have gotten away. They may have gotten away with, the flair and the pomp and the of the whole election thing. But when this is becoming reality, it's
I will go to my grave believing that they rigged this election, that they did not really win. The statistics for them to take all of the swing states has never happened in my lifetime. I heard a mathematician speak about the fallout of the votes, and he showed a chart, and it showed how the votes tend to line up along this line. And he showed how in these swing states, these votes did line up along this line, but there were no outliers. And in every statistical analysis, there are always outliers. So somebody manipulated data, but left out the outliers, Yes. And
they didn't cover their tracks.
Right,
Because they're not. It takes a smart person to lie convincingly.
I still till this day would never have voted for her. If they would have put somebody else up in that on that podium, then yeah, you might have got me.
I can't understand that because she was so much smarter than him. She's so much more qualified than him.
Damn, the way she spoke, just everything about her annoyed me. You don't get a feeling. I don't need to know her. I just know that I don't think she would have gotten through 40 years.
But this is we'll see because you might be sitting through another. You might be sitting through an indefinite oligarchy for a while.
Right.
But that's a conversation for another time. We're running out of time today, so it's time for Vera Bears. She's already. Get ready for the steam to blow. 3, 2, 1, man.
Well, this continues our conversation pretty closely. Trump's poll numbers are out today for the first 100 days of this second hellscape. And Trump's way underwater. They're the only other president whose approval numbers have been this low were his in his first presidency. He is underwater. The majority of Americans disapprove of the work that this president has done. He's got a 53% disapproval rate and a 42% approval rate. I'm not sure what the other 6% of people are doing. Well, actually, that's 5% of people, but it's the lowest approval rating in this century. So some of the subjects that he's underwater on are his handling of the Ukraine. He promised us day one he could end the war in the Ukraine. We're now approaching day 100, Tuesday's day 100, and he's not handling anything. The Trump administration solution to this immoral war is to let Russia keep the land they captured. That's like saying, I like my neighbor's living room better than mine, so I can invade my neighbor's house and take his living room, and then I just can decide if I want the whole house. And when he calls the police and the police come to break up the fight, that I get to keep his living room. It's ridiculous. It's the most ridiculous thing I ever heard. He deserves to be underwater on that topic. Another topic that he's underwater on is the economy. Day one, I can fix the economy. Day one, we're going to put this back to rights. It was Biden's ineffectiveness that made this economy. No, it was COVID. It was COVID that you let get out of hand that drove the economy off the cliff. And now you're driving it down the hill and into the river. Every single mistake that he has made just keeps making our economy worse. I got to work till I'm 70. I know I told you all that before. Doge. He's underwater on Doge. Nobody approves of Doge. Yeah, we all think we should stop waste and fraud. But you know what? We don't think the waste and fraud is Medicaid and Social Security. Why don't we look at the fact that the man calling the rest of us takers who are taking Social Security and saying that he shouldn't have to pay for our lifestyle, who's making $8.9 million a day in federal contracts for rockets that half of them have blown up, for cars that blow up and fall apart and are only glued together, for satellites that keep falling out of the sky, and attacking every single oversight agency that was trying to keep him from having things blow up and having things fall out of the sky. He attacked the FAA and said, we don't need them. And now planes are falling out of the sky all over the place. So yeah, Trump is underwater on Doge. They said they were going to save $2 trillion. And then they reduced it down. Well, maybe it's just going to be $150 billion. And now it's only $80 billion. But you know what they aren't telling you? Is that when they fired all these people, the cost of firing these people and then rehiring these people and then going to court to defend their decision to firing, they've spent $150 billion and they only saved $80 billion. So we, as an American people, are underwater to the tune of $70 billion. That's winning. So yeah, and tariffs. Shall we talk about the tariffs? The world economy is on the verge of collapse because of these ignorant, stupid tariffs that he kept insisting foreign countries would pay. And everybody who studies words, who has a dictionary, whoever studied economics says, no, tariffs are a sales tax on the American people. So we're going to spend an extra $5,000 for cars, an extra $20,000 for homes, an extra $8 for a box of cereal. And Trump's like, our tariffs are making us great. He's underwater under health care. He's doing away with Medicaid. Do you know what Medicaid? Yeah, you may not get Medicaid, but you know what Medicaid does pay for? Medical transportation for special needs people. Regulations that include ramps and elevators for people with disabilities. Standardized testing across all 50 states so that we can detect autism earlier and get children the interventions they need. These are things that Medicaid pays for. My clinic is 70% Medicaid funded. If this goes underwater, I won't be able to retire and I won't have a fucking job. So yeah, he deserves to be underwater about the healthcare. Due process, rule of law. I already ranted about it. Every single person, I don't care what crime you commit, you deserve to have your day in court. Period. We are a country of laws. We are not a country of kidnappers who throw people in prison for no good reason or for reasons that we make up and never have to prove. And Pam Bondi, who keeps saying that she's going to throw people in prison for talking badly about the president, that's my First Amendment right. And I'll keep talking bad about him until you put a bullet in my head. Underwater about the rule of law and oil and gas. What has he fixed about our oil and gas prices? They're exactly the same. Yeah, they haven't tanked, but he didn't fix anything either, did he? So, yeah, I'll go to my grave saying Trump deserves to be underwater in his approval ratings. I can't believe 40% of the population still thinks he's not a total fucking asshole and a Nazi.
But what about the price of eggs?
The price of eggs is still fucking high. You know, people were dyeing potatoes for fucking Easter.
No omelets for anyone.
You can't go to Denny's and get an omelet without them charging you $1 per egg surcharge.
You got the omelet tax. That's shocking, man. Not an omelet tax. That's
an omelet tax.
That we live in.
I know.
We have a shortage here at the moment too. You can only buy 12. You can only buy a dozen eggs at one of the shops. It's like I only want 6.
Oh yeah. You know. You can only buy 1 carton of eggs, but you can get the 6, the 12, or the 18 pack.
They only had 12.
No.
But you know, you're
at
America.
my grocery store, you can buy. You can only buy 1. You can only buy 1 carton, but you can get 6, 12, or 18.
Wow, they have a 5 limit for us.
Really?
What do you do with 18 eggs?
Well, for an Easter dinner. For Easter dinner, when I make my souffle, I use 10.
Oh, there you go. See.
Yeah.
I buy 24 every 2 weeks. I mean, my kids love eggs.
You've got to be yoking.
Breaded chicken. I use eggs for everything. I baked this week. I fucked up one thing. I had to make it all over again. That was 6 eggs down the fucking drain. And I cracked
in this economy, Christina, that's irresponsible.
I know. I dropped the fucking egg when I was taking it out of the carton. I'm like, fuck.
Did you cry?
And, you know,
that's a house payment.
Yeah, I know.
Right? Oh dear. Look, we proceed, we persist, we keep going on. If you need something to distract you, thank you for the response to the Final Destination reviews with it. They've been going off. So there's more coming. More coming.
Oh,
for
I
that
found
if you need
myself
to be-
behind a log truck the other day, and I thought, oh, Brooke Warren said I can't be behind a log truck. I wonder how they died because of the log truck, because I'm behind one now. I should move.
Yeah. You don't want to see it.
Move.
You don't want to see it. Always move, right?
Always.
Move. But we'll be tackling the next 4 movies in the lead up to Final Destination Bloodlines, which comes out next month. So you've got another couple of we're doing uncensored horror back to back for the next couple of weeks. So get your horror feel. Otherwise, we'll be here talking about stuff and the bizarre shit that is the modern day world. Thank you for joining me, Christina, and the lovely Vera.
Right.
I know we've got to bring BY tissues. BY tissues. They're less expensive than eggs, right?
They are.
At least we're not going to a toilet paper crisis again, folks.
Well, I got caught in that last time.
Not yet. Stay tuned for more dystopia. We'll see you next week on Uncensored.